Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's Haley and this is a continuation of the 11th gene key, the light of Eden. Today we're going over the gift of idealism. Now idealism, that word in and of itself, I feel has kind of a negative connotation. At least for me, when I hear that word, I think of, oh, you're dreaming too big or unrealistic, or that's not possible, that's not ideal. That's just for some reason what comes into my head, which is ironic because, well, first of all, I'd love to know what pops into your head when you hear that word idealism. And then secondly, clearly Richard Rudd sees it in the higher light because it's in reference to a gift frequency. So I'm very excited for him to expand my current scope and connotation on this word idealism. It's a gift frequency. It takes a level of awareness, an enlightening of the shadow to reach this state. So that's interesting. And I have marked this up so much as per usual. So the first thing he does is he starts to give us synonyms for this word idealism. Play with imagery and creative power. It comes from the right hemisphere. And he notes that the more that we use this creative power, this idealism, this ability to dream, the healthier our world will become. And not just our own internal world, but quite literally the world. He says that there's a historical repression of this energy of idealism, which he notes here as feminine. And then women in general, there's a repression seen throughout history. And this directly manifests as the imbalance that we see within the world. So essentially he's saying that a lot of the havoc we are interpreting these days has to do with the suppression of the right brain, the creative power, the ability to be idealistic. And once again, he's defining idealism as the ability to dream loving dreams. He says that we need to understand what an archetype is capable of. We talked about archetypes a bit in the last video. And I think here when he says we need to understand what an archetype is capable of, he's saying if we really understood the hero's journey, for example, the hero archetype, then we would be able to step back and observe how this is playing out in our own lives, which would in turn help us navigate the highs and the lows and the plateaus. So to truly understand what an archetype is would be demonstrated through the ability to see how this plays out in your own life, in your own trials and tribulations. And he says, as you start to work with the archetypes, you begin to work with the dynamic energy of this 11th gift of idealism. So after reading this first section, I'm like, okay, I kind of get your drift, Richard Rudd, but also you gotta give me something else. I feel just in reading this first section, it hasn't all come together yet, but the rest of this chapter really ties it in, so hang in there with me. And then he confirms what I started the video with this. He says, idealism is given a bad rap in our modern world because it's seen as the opposite of realism. So even in just reading this sentence, we can infer that idealism is not the opposite of realism. So they're not opposites. Then what are they? What is the relationship between idealism and realism? And he doesn't really get into that. But I think I can infer that what he's trying to say is realism is what's already able to be observed, manifest as 3D, objects, people, places, things, experiences. It's realistic, it's already here now. Whereas idealism, in the sense that he's talking about it, is dreaming a dream, thinking a thought, having a vision, a plan, a future that is not yet here, it's not yet real, quote unquote, but it's so real in the mind and rooted in love and service to others that inevitably, eventually, it will become real because the nature of it is real. And I think so often, at least I know I and many others have these dreams that are not based in reality, right? They're not based in love, in service to the all. They're based in the ego, the separation from the all, the what can I gain, what can I get? How can I get more famous, more rich, more this, more that? And this is the negative connotation. This is where this comes from for idealism. It's dreaming a dream that only satisfies the self. And yeah, that is the opposite of realism. However, once again, ideals dreamt in attunement with love, which is the reality, in attunement with service to others, which is how it is, will eventually become reality. So they're not opposites in this case. They are, I don't know, like niece and auntie, distant cousins. He says the only thing needed for magic to occur is some form of structure and an open mind. Okay, so essentially presence is necessary. And I think when he says the word magic here, the only thing needed for magic to happen, what he really means is the only thing you need to have an idea transform into the 3D reality, for something to move from idealism to realism, is structure and an open mind, is a plan and presence. Once again, presence, real, true presence, is equivalent to love. So all that you really need to move your thought into form is dedication and love, rooted in service to others, rooted in reality. And he notes here, he reemphasizes, he says that everything needs structure to manifest. Okay, so what is structure? Structure could be seen as dedication. Things you're doing in order to move that thought into form. For instance, you have a business idea, you can't just only think about it. That thought needs to lead to actions that you can take right now, which eventually add up and create a structure for this thing to be birthed into the world. Structure is necessary. And then here it is. He says, I really like this line. He says, first you have to discover what your true ideals and dreams really are. Okay, so key word here is true. What are your true ideals? Once again, truth is equivalent to love. Service to others. What are your service to others ideals? What things have you thought of that not only help you feel complete, safe, and happy, but also do that for the all, which again includes you? This is a true ideal. What are your true dreams? What are your service-oriented dreams? What are your most loving dreams? What are the dreams that are coming from here, not from the ego? And you know, this is something that I might have to sit with for a while. I find that my true dreams uncover themselves the more life I live, the more I ask to know them. Again, whether that's through my words of prayer or my action. I really think your true ideals and dreams start to reveal themselves in accord to how much you actually want to know them. Are you really asking? Are you actually curious? Because I kind of think about it like, you know, I'm the explorer. The treasure is going to stay hidden unless I have this urge to go and find it. The treasure's not popping out like, hey, I'm over here. Come find me. The treasure's like chilling in the dirt, you know? The explorer has to have the urge, the desire, the yearn, the dedication, the structure to unlock the treasure, to find the dream. And again, this is a never-ending treasure hunt. There's unlimited true ideals, true service to other tasks and goals hidden within every individual, I solely believe. But something to consider. If you were to ask yourself right now, the first contemplation of this video, what are my dreams? Make a list and then look back at that list. Okay, so what on this list is service to self, egocentric, all about me and my own safety, my own wealth, my own health, and how many of these items or goals or dreams are actually rooted in reality, in love, in service to others. I'll give you guys a quick example. One of my dreams used to be to become a really successful model. And honestly, that was just because I wanted to become a successful model. I wanted to become rich, I wanted to become famous, whatever. I wanted to feel successful. That is not service oriented. It's not rooted in reality. Therefore, it didn't really manifest, right? This is because it didn't have a true, deeper reality to it. And then now, if you ask me, what are my dreams? One of my dreams is to build a really beautiful, loving family. This is service oriented and also serves me. It'll make me happy. It'll bring me joy, but it'll also be service to others in the sense that, I'll serve my kids when I have them. I will use the love I have for my kids to be loving to other kids, whatever. I could brainstorm all of this. So you can go down any goal of yours and really ask yourself, be honest, is this serving just me? Or does this in some way or form also help another? This is a good way to decipher whether you are aligning with the lower manifestation of idealism that we know in the current world, or this gift frequency of idealism that Richard Rudd talks about. Oof, okay. So, as you start to entertain the archetype of the 11th gift, you open a floodgate of seemingly chaotic imagery in your inner life. And he says that delusional problems can result. Great, that's awesome incentive to keep going on the spiritual path. And I have to say he is true. This is true. We talked about this in the last video, the pitfalls of delusion, how to avoid them. So I recommend going and watching that if you'd like a deeper dive. It's in the most recent video before this. And he says that the reason for this is because a lot is going to be coming out of this right brain, this creative part of you that speaks in symbols and feelings. And again, the overwhelm can create chaos if ignited in large quantities. We also, again, in the other video, went over how to ignite the right brain, how to turn it on, connect it to the left hemisphere, and connect that to your heart. Yet another way to do that we have just gone over in this video, which is the desire in which you ask to know the truth, your true ideals, your true dreams. Essentially the level of intensity that you want to know God, love, source, reality in is another way to ignite the right brain. Turn that hemisphere on. Open the floodgate of creativity and potential chaos. But I really do think done deliberately, not forcefully, with patience, these are all good ways to tread along in a way that is not overwhelming. I do find it interesting that he continues to warn us about that, though. Because, and I'll say I appreciate it, actually, because I think a lot of spiritual texts and other videos I've seen on YouTube are very only focus on the love and light. And one thing I really love about the Gene Keys is that literally in every chapter, we talk about a shadow frequency. There's not this fixation and this obsession with enlightenment and love and light. It's the whole enchilada right here. And I do appreciate that he speaks so upfront about potential realities that can manifest, rather than kind of spiritually bypassing and only talking about the sunshine aspects of enlightenment and raising your frequency. So yep, this is just a part of the pie. Potential delusion. And this makes sense, right? I just want to reiterate, this makes sense because you quite literally have to lose your mind to create a new one. You literally have to shed old patterns, old habits, old ways of being, egocentric ideals, and it's going to feel like death. It might feel chaotic, overwhelming at times. I say this because I've had a few of those. And yeah, it's just a very real reality of waking up. Of continuing to wake up, I should say. It never really ends. And so he says idealism, which would once again, his definition of idealism after reading this chapter is to dream up a service-oriented goal or vision, and then be willing to let it go and be present and accepting of your now reality. This is true idealism. Because as long as it is allowed free movement, your goal, your vision, as long as it's allowed free movement, it will manifest your dreams in the world. So I read that and I just felt like an instant relief. My heart smiled. I know it's true. How do I know? Because it feels true when I read it. As long as it's allowed with free movement, it will manifest into the world. It's that simple. You dream it up, it's service-oriented, rooted in truth and reality, then you let it go and be present and trust that it will manifest in divine time. Easier said than done. And then he gets a little cheeky here and he says, the thing about dreams is that you never really know what it will become as it emerges into the world of form. Okay, and part of me is like, oh, great. Yeah, that's true. But then the higher parts of me are like, this should be exciting. This shouldn't be a drag or like, oh man. We don't want to know how our dreams are going to unfold, or it wouldn't be really any fun. I mean, a very simple example. Think about when it's Christmas and you're like, I don't know, 6 years old and you're all excited because it's Christmas and you don't know what's under the tree or in that box and you've like shaken it and you can't figure it out. It is so exciting. Like nothing's more exciting than opening that gift and tearing it open and trying to figure out what's in there. And then having that big reveal. Like, wow, oh my gosh, this is what I wanted. How did you know? I didn't even tell you, Mom. Whereas Christmas morning, you're 6 years old, you know exactly what's under that tree because either you told Mom 20 times, she's like, okay, I'll get it for Christmas, I'll get it for Christmas. And there's literally no surprise in the box because you're fully aware of what's in there. Or you accidentally saw it in her closet before she wrapped it and, okay, yeah, you're still excited to play with it, but you literally already know what's in the box. Can be translated to this. Wouldn't it be so much more cutting edge and exciting if your dreams did come true, but in a way that you didn't see it happening? So I think a perception shift here is necessary to remind myself and share with you all. We should be excited about the fact that if something is rooted in reality and we have the capacity and awareness to dream it up and then let it go, knowing it will come in a way that you can't expect it, and that will get us excited. I think this is like, I mean, you are your own dream's best friends when you have this mindset equipped. You must believe in the power of your dream. You have to. And then here's the balance, right? But at the same time, simultaneously, you must give up what it looks like. And giving up what it looks like is giving up your ego. well, no, it has to be like this, and it has to look like this, and it has to be this size, and in that cut, and over there, no, not over there, over here. And you have to give up your fear, your need to control, and you have to let go. I don't know how this is going to happen, what it's going to look like, when it's going to come into fruition, but I do know that it will. How do I know this? Well, because this vision is rooted in reality. It's rooted in love. It's rooted in service to others. So of course it's going to come true. This is the attitude to carry. So I kind of think of a seesaw here. You must believe in the power of your dream, and at the same time, you must give up what it looks like. And the more you do these two things, you balance it out, it becomes balanced, in homeostasis, in harmony, therefore can actually come into the world. It's a necessity that you relinquish your need to control. This is a key point within this whole chapter. And he says it's this very energy, this energy of like playfulness, and I wonder how it's going to happen. I want to be surprised. I'm excited that this is a surprise. You're the 6-year-old that's happy that you don't know what's under the Christmas tree. It's this kind of playfulness that loosens your tendency to try to grip tightly, to feel stressed, to feel anxious, to feel worried, to drag you back into that shadow of obscurity. This keeps you in the frequency of dreaming up visions that are service-oriented. This allows your channel of creativity to keep flowing as something's already in the process of coming into fruition in your now reality. So now instead of focusing on one thing and trying to force it to grow, you're constantly dreaming up service-oriented visions and watching those unflower for you and the collective. This energy of idealism will manifest great things in your outer life. And he has the word will here italicized. I feel like as I read that word will with the italicization, I don't know if that's a word. It's like a little wink from God. So then he takes a little detour and he starts to talk once again about archetypes, symbols, animals. Once again, all of these things that emanate from the right creative brain. And he says that these are very powerful. So if you resonate with a tiger, if you resonate with a certain crystal, if you resonate with a certain archetype, I don't know, a certain plant, it's in your best interest, you don't need to, but it's in your best interest to play with this symbol, this archetype, this vision, and allow the energy of the tiger to move you. Okay, here's an example. Say tigers speak to you because they're fast and they're like, they don't let people mess with them, but they're also like elegant and they move in the savannah in a certain way. They're independent, they hunt, but they don't take more than they need. So you start to derive inspiration from this animal of the tiger, and you translate those qualities into how you move throughout your own business endeavor. This is just an example. Allowing the right brain and its symbols and feelings to translate to other parts of your life. This is also how you connect the spheres, which inevitably connects the brain to the heart and creates that beautiful brain-heart coherence that we talked about in the last video. You have to begin to think with your right brain. And so in doing this, utilizing our right brains, once again, whether it's through deriving inspiration from an archetype, a symbol, an animal, praying, asking to know love, or uncover our true ideals, we start to bring this balance not only back into our own lives, but into the collective. The feminine power starts to come back into harmony and balance with the masculine. He says this is how we return the true art of magic to our world. the true fairy dust, the presence, the observation of beauty. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And next up will be the city of this 11th gene key, light, in reference to the title of the entire gene key, the Light of Eden. I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in with me for this Gene Keys episode. I also just wanted to come on here and start promoting my one-to-one coaching that I offer to women and girls ages 16 to 35. If you followed me on Instagram for a while, you might be a little bit familiar with my story. I was a model in New York City for 5 years, and in that time frame, I did quite some damage. I developed a really severe eating disorder, body dysmorphia, chronic anxiety. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even go out to dinner without thinking about how much calories, how much I'd have to overwork out in order to compensate for what I was eating. All of those issues led to quite a depression and turned into PCOS, and I also lost my menstrual cycle for over 5 years. All of this amalgamation of issues led me to soon realize that something needed to change. I went through much work. Many people helped me to get to where I am now. And I'm so thrilled to say I'm living such a more abundant life, and I don't feel zapped and drained and fear of judgment anymore like I used to. I would love to offer what I've learned through my own embodied experience, the meditative techniques that have gravitated toward me, and the own verified games that I've made up and curated to help you walk home to more of you and who you really are, so that all of these things can stop draining your energy. You know, all the constant comparison to others and to your people on Instagram, all the over-analysis about working out and what you're eating or what you look like. All of these things are not what life's about, as cheesy as it sounds. And I would love to help you come into more unity with you if you struggle with any of these things and you're a woman or girl between the ages of 16 and 35. So feel free to reach out to me if one-on-one coaching sounds resonant. You can feel free to DM me through Instagram or contact me via email, both of which will be left below in the description box. So much love and aloha to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.